see Sister Monday everywhere I looked. I would see her standing in the dark corners of my room. I would swear she was inside watching me sleep.
We're here. Hurry up and take your pictures so we can go.
There it is.
So what's the story about this place?
This is Old Horse Creek Church. It used to be a convent. There was one nun, Sister Monday. She was suspected of killing prisoners in the jail.
May God have mercy on your soul!
What happened to her?
Vanished without a trace. Some people think she's still...
There we go.
There you are. What's up, man? Jeff from Las Vegas. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for talking to me today.
Hey, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
And your movie's a musical comedy, right? Or what movie is this? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's a documentary.
A documentary. Well, cool. Let's talk about A Nun's Curse. You know, first of all, I have to say, you have the coolest name, Tommy Faircloth. I mean, that's such a hip name. Is that a stage name or is that really your family name?
Oh, it's my real name. And people always get it wrong, and it's so weird because it's such an easy. I mean, it's just like it sounds. People's like, how do you spell that? And they're trying to add G's and E's, and I'm like, just like it sounds. Cloth, fair cloth. So,
I think it's hip. So, I mean, for a director, it's pretty cool. So, hey, I was raised Protestant, so Catholicism is so foreign to me. So every time I see something with nuns and all, it freaks me out to begin with. So. And I was also one of those kids who had a nightlight, you know, so I always thought monsters were under my bed, monsters are in my closet. For some reason, you've had the same experience, but you feared a nun was under your bed?
No. Well, I was raised in a really super religious family as well, but ours was Pentecostal holiness, which is kind of what everyone thinks of when they hear, you know, psycho-religious. But it was just something I grew up around. I was used to it. So I never got to experience nuns, but this story developed into a nun story mainly because of the location we were shooting at. Originally, it was going to be about a jail warden and some of the practices that he did on prisoners. And then once I got this new location and saw this stained glass window, the wheels started turning and said, this would be so cool if it was, say, a nun that worked at this prison instead of the warden. And that's kind of where it turned to the nun story.
And I would think like filmmakers, a movie or story comes around a setting like that. You see something and all of a sudden a story starts going in your mind. And Tarantino would say he heard music and he would write the scenes around the music. So that place actually exists, the stained windows and all that. I mean, What a great location. Tell me about finding that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an actual registered historic jail. It's in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Back during the Civil Wars, like in the 1800s or whatever, when it was built, Sherman used it as offices. He tried to burn it down, of course, once it was done with. And it actually held prisoners up until the early 70s, I believe. But the way I found it, I had actually found another jail location in the low country of South Carolina. And that's where the story had started. But that location fell through. Then when I found this new one and saw that really cool stained glass window, and I was like, this is so gothic and cool looking. I need to kind of flip the story a little bit. And plus, I was friends with Felissa, and she had worked with me before, and I'm like, this would be really cool for her to come back in a villain role. And so I kind of started turning the story more just towards that.
And it seems like an easy story structure that you chose 4 characters and a demon nun. And then as soon as you see these 4 characters, you're just like, okay, which one's going to die first? You got the nerdy guy, you got the annoying asshole, so it's just kind of like a waiting game like that. But it seems like for you to write this film, keeping it at 4 characters really kind of kept it tight for you and easy to navigate.
Yeah, I just come off of doing my last film, Family Possessions, that had a lot of characters, a lot of locations. And, it's exhausting. And I just thought it would be cool to kind of do if The Breakfast Club was a horror movie, get all these different characters in one location and see what happens. And so that's kind of, what happens here once they're at the jail, once they're trapped in there with the nun, all the different personalities start meshing and running into each other. And, so.
And who drew the kids' drawings? Because I want the one with the nun under the bed. That freaked me out.
Actually, Erica, the girl that played the lead, Ashley, in the film, she actually did those for me. I'd sent her a message and was like, can you draw me some creepy kid drawings and just go crazy? And she's like, okay. And so she did a bunch. This was way before we started shooting, and sent them to me.
A little bit too authentic. They looked really creepy.
Yeah. I'm like, are these from your memories?
And also you did the mugshots they found inside the prison. I mean, those kind of details make the movie really special.
Yeah, I mean, and it was really cool too because, you know, we did have an Indiegogo when we first started this film, and that was one of the perks. You could pay, you know, whatever the perk amount was, and we would make your mugshot one of the ones we used in the film. And of course, you know, because we were going to use them anyway, and rather than using us or, you know, just friends, I thought that'd be a cool way to get the fans involved.
And I love Mike's Space Cat shirt. Where did he get that? I want one.
I found some really obscure website that would do custom shirts, and I ordered a couple of those. I just thought it was funny. You know, Gunnar, who played that character, he was in a film of mine called Dollface, and even back then he had like a weird I love my church shirt or something like that. So it's kind of part of his characters in my films. He's always got some kind of strange shirt. But I got a couple just in case, you know, I got too much blood or something on it.
And for a movie like this, low budget horror film, tell me about your shooting schedule. I mean, was it really tight?
We shot the entire film in about 9 days. It wasn't that, and actually I felt like I just had more time with this than my last film. And it's probably because most of it was in one location. We didn't have to move around a lot. I mean, we did have to, you know, like the ruins of the church and the jail were not anywhere near each other and things like that. But what happened is there was hurricanes coming through. We had like 2 hurricanes during the shoot. So that, if anything, that kind of slowed us up because it kept flooding the basement of the jail that we were shooting in. And a lot of the scenes took place there, and we had, you know, electrical cords to string along. And so it was kind of dangerous, and we had to get there and suck up all the water. But, you know, it was a small crew, a small cast, make one location mainly. So it wasn't too hard of a shoot as far as timing, but I felt like I had a little more time when this one in my last film, honestly.
And give me a situation, because you had 9 days, where you had to think on your feet, that something didn't pan out, and you had to do something, and they had to think on your feet and solve a solution.
Oh yeah, I mean, even during that happened during the shoot. You know, I'm like really on, you know, having every shot detailed, what I'm going to shoot the day, what we're shooting each day. And, you know, with the rain and the hurricanes, I had to kind of throw all that up in the air because I'm like, okay, it's raining all day today, so we can't do any exterior. So we're going to do this instead, you know, just reversing shots. But what I did was I made sure my cast, you know, I paid my cast to be there the whole time, even though they weren't shooting that day, just in case something like this happened, and it did. So like when we shot outside at that really cool ruins of that church, that day we shot there because it was scheduled for another day, but it was raining and we couldn't shoot there. So, you know, just being able to, at the last minute, flip your schedule, it's just kind of part of the planning process.
And you use Red House FX for all your makeup. What are the challenges in using special effects makeup when you're making a movie like this?
Well, yeah, Red House is actually made up of 2 friends of mine. Sean Crumbolts, who was one of the prisoners with the big beard in the film. He's actually an actor as well. And then the other half of that is Tony Rosen, who I've worked with on my last few films. He's most famous for creating the Annabelle doll. And so whenever I contact these guys, I mean, they're, you know, I'm talking to them a year before we even shoot. They know, you know, I'm like, I need you to design, you know, this, or can you create me a weapon that looks like this? And because they're just good friends of mine, you know, and I've known them so long, it's just like, you know, talking to anybody. It's somebody, once I get someone good that I can depend on and work with, I always use them over and over. And so, you know, they would come in on the days that we had the effect shot. They would just, you know, knock it out of the park. It was great.
And also you have that scream sound effect. Was there anything unique about that, or because it freaked me out?
Or Felissa screams and the window breaks. Yeah, that was all her. And the funny thing is when we shot that, it looks like we're in the middle of nowhere, but there's like these bars and restaurants all around us where we shot in this jail. And we shot that at night, and she's up there screaming, and it's echoing, and people are like, you know, we looked out and see a lot of people looking up at the jail, wondering what the hell's going on. But no, that was all Felissa. Even when she heard it, she was like what did you use for that scream? I'm like, it was you. You know, we just added some echo and stuff like that to it. But no, she's got a great scream.
And of course, it must be fun for a movie like this to design the poster, the cover art. So tell me about the origins of creating that, because that sells the movie right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if you can see, that's the original artwork up on the wall here. It's got Felissa busting through the stained glass, which we used that for the few theatrical screenings we had and some film festival run stuff. But the copy you have behind you is, you know, of course, the actual release, you know, Uncorked did. Because, you know, they wanted to kind of be a little more sinister and probably a little less bloody so they could get at Walmart. But yeah, I love the kind of throwback versus the new version as well.
And it's funny, we have all these other nun films or all these possession films are all Latin oriented. So I'm surprised you didn't call her, you know, Sister Lunes or something instead of Sister Monday.
Yeah. Well, no, Sister Monday is actually, it's a name that just kind of stood out to me because it's someone, I told you I grew up in a church and everybody was sister this, sister that. And Sister Monday was someone that did go to my church, and she was kind of a stickler and was kind of someone the kids were afraid of.
And Mondays are terrible to begin with. Who likes Mondays, right?
Did that too. So, but no, that was just a name that just stood out for me.
And tell me you kept the crucifix knife, because that is like my favorite thing. I kept seeing that. I'm like, that is so cool. Is it behind you? Do you have it, or did someone take it?
It's packed away. It's in my closet. No, actually, when we was originally getting ready to launch our campaign for this, and I was getting someone to create some art, I was just like, yeah, I just want her to have some kind of weapon that's disguised as a cross. And I gave that info to Tony Rosen, and he created this cool wooden cross. He carved, you know, Lord on it for me and everything. And it was just a cool, you know, because I was like, how would she have a weapon and they wouldn't see it, you know, at the prison and anything like that. I'm like, who's gonna search a nun's cross that she wears on her? But yeah, I still have it. It lasted the whole film until the very last shot, where we had a slow motion shot of it falling, and that's actually when it broke. But you know, we got the shot. We'll try to fix it, because I do keep a few props from my films, but that was one I wanted to keep.
Well, A Nun's Curse is hitting VOD this week, and tell me of all the different platforms that you can see it on.
Yeah, on May 12th it comes out on DVD and digital. The following week on the 19th, it'll be on the shelves in Walmart. So, you know, if you have Amazon, wherever you rent, you know, movies digitally, it'll be there. I know a lot of people like to get the physical media, including myself. I like to collect that. So the DVD itself will have a lot of extras and behind the scenes stuff and bloopers and interviews and all that. So you definitely want to pick that up and see all that extra footage.
Well, Tommy, congratulations, A Nun's Curse. And thanks for talking to me today. And let's do it again real soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sometimes we are more scary than what we fear.
I want your soul.